Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Hola. I want to start off though this video with a disclaimer because whenever I make my Spain videos, I do get a cluster of negative comments about how my experiences and my opinions about my experiences here are like not valid, which to me is absolutely absurd. But to be completely honest, whenever I see those comments, I literally look at them like, and if you still have something negative to say, go ahead and comment it, because all I'm gonna do is delete it, and YouTube ultimately sees that my content was worth talking about and they're only gonna promote my videos further because they see people are being engaged. Alright, which is better, Barcelona or Madrid? So I've lived in Madrid for a year and I've lived in Barcelona for 8 months. It'll be a year though by December. So I want to start off with what they kind of have in common. All the points that I'm going to make is just kind of randomly what came to my head like as I walk through the city. So what do they both have in common? They both have a fashion presence. I would say my opinion is Madrid's maybe a little bit more serious than Barcelona because they do have Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. Like here there's a fashion week called 080 and a lot of headquarters are in Barcelona, so I guess it kind of evens out. But for me, I would prefer to work in fashion in Madrid. Next, they have a very easy metro system to navigate, and I think it's been deemed like one of the best in Europe. So, and then next for like my last little happy point is, or it could be a happy point depending on your personality, but people love to talk, and they're very, for the most part, inviting. Very compared to like Paris and Italy, to me they're a little bit more closed off, but here they're very like, let's go for a beer, let's hang out, let's talk for hours and hours. So if you are extroverted, I think this would be a great city for you. If you're introverted and you want to get out of your shell a little bit more, it helps to have people like constantly extending themselves to spend time with you. But when I say they love to talk, I am not exaggerating. They love to talk for hours on hours. Sometimes it can get annoying because it's like really introverted people like me, after like 30 minutes, it's like, all right, it's time for me to go. All right, so I've mentioned this before in another video, but it's no personal space in both cities. And I find myself at some point every day like the Hodge twins.
Ow! Ah! Out the way! Give me some room! Oh, man.
And something else that really annoys me is that you can be in like a really big room. It's pretty empty and maybe you have to sit and wait for something. There could be all these empty seats. You sit in one seat. A few minutes later, a person will come in and literally sit in the seat right next to you, as if we don't have all of these seats. Alright, so for both cities, a lot of areas smell like straight up pee. And I think it's because people drink so much beer, and a lot of times at night, you're partying, you're drunk, and there's not really many public places you can go to use the bathroom. So a lot of people are just kind of forced to just pee on the street, and that smell really reeks. Alright, food wise, I've kind of mentioned before, what's famous here is called tapas, and it's basically like finger foods or appetizers that you usually have between meals. But Barcelona has seafood options because we're right by the sea. Both cities have ham, cheese, croquetas, ¿qué más? Patatas bravas, cosas como así. But I'm from Chicago and I'm used to pizza, burgers, Italian sausage, Chipotle. The food here is nah. Other people really love the food, but I'm not a Spanish food person. Alright, so with dating, I can't really say too much about it because I have not really dated here. But I have hung out with a couple of guys in both cities. But even with some of the guy friends that I've had here, it seems like they're not really all that serious about having a serious relationship. They're more just into doing their own thing and having a good time. But what gets me, and something that I will not do, is they expect the girl to chase after the guy. Yeah, no. Alright, so let's start off with Barcelona since I'm currently here. Ultimately, I think it's a great place to vacation. For the weather, it's pretty humid, very warm. It's a cosmopolitan city and it's full of tourists, and a lot of people speak English, which is great if you really don't know the language. But also a lot of things are in Catalan, so if you are trying to learn Spanish, I don't really recommend Barcelona to be a place for you to study, unless it's in the outskirts.
And it's time for Psychology Today with Hola.
When you get into a place where you end up ultimately becoming so uncomfortable in many areas, naturally you try to find ways to make yourself feel more comfortable, because the brain likes patterns. And whenever you break those patterns, the brain fights to try to stick to the old patterns. And obviously everybody's different, but for the most part, I think you could learn a lot more Spanish if you aren't in the city center of Barcelona.
And that concludes Psychology Today with Sierra LaFay.
But it's a beautiful city. It's very colorful, a lot of really interesting buildings. And they have the Barceloneta beach. It is a little bit more expensive to live here than it is in Madrid. Now Madrid, they are a party city. Almost every night is like people are just out celebrating life there, and especially on the weekends. It is not uncommon to go out at midnight and not come back home until 6 or 7 a.m. And actually a lot of people do that because the metro stops running. I forget what time in Madrid, but for like a certain amount of time that people just keep partying until the metro starts running again. So the weather there is still very hot, but more dry because it's right in the center of Spain. There is so much more native Spanish there. So if you're actually trying to go to a different country to learn Spanish, I would recommend Madrid, because even if a lot of people spoke English, you wouldn't know because they didn't want to speak it with you if they didn't have to. Like a lot of people that I encounter, it was just they were not trying to show you their English skills. I also think the city is a little bit more family orientated, and you kind of feel more of like established or like in a steady environment, because here is people just constantly in and out. Okay, and then the last thing that I thought about concerning Madrid that I really did not like is that it is completely common to not wash your hands. Here I see people washing their hands, but Madrid, it was like they kind of looked at you like when you wash your hands like, oh, what is she doing? And a lot of bathrooms do not have soap, so if you are traveling to Madrid, make sure that you have some hand sanitizer. Ultimately, which is better, Madrid or Barcelona? They're both very different. I'll let you make the choice. For me personally, I simply prefer Madrid, and yeah, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave any type of comment you want to down below, and until the next video.